in this room right now, they would say they are correct, that we should never call on the police. But there are times when we need to call on the police, and this is what we're critiquing. The idea that there are times where the police are not going to come. The state is not going to come. But there are times when they are going to come. There are times when they are going to care. For example, when my partner said there was a time where black women could be raped at any point in time and it was never considered against the law. This is an example of how the securitization of the law has come to help people in certain instances. And it is a privilege to say, fuck the police, fuck the state, because you have the security of the state as of right now. You don't know what it's like not to have the state on your side. Now, Larry Neal specifically says any link to the white aesthetic needs to be destroyed. The links that we're going for is performance. In her 2AC, she gets up and says the performance of the ontology of being and the form and content, you hold them to their performance. Because they brought up performance within this debate space, you hold them to how they have performed. Identity is not characterized as just black, white, rich, poor. There are identities within debate. There are identities of the ideal debater or certain ways that people debate. That is an identity. Traditional debater, performance debater. That is an identity. At the point that they still assume the idea of uniqueness, meta level, all these types of things, spreading line by line, telling you how you should do your ballot is reifying the heteronormative ways of debating within the debate space. This is an easy way that you can mark your ballot right there. Also, they say that there's we said that there's a view from nowhere. When they read poetry, they never establish who they are. I don't even know anything about them. They specifically know about the situations that I'm scared of, that I'm scared to have kids because of the things that are affecting black kids within its base space. That is my social location. They have not done this, so they do not get to garner gigantic evidence that talks about how they're defying white supremacy, because our specific card, I forgot the card name, talks about how whites like to feel comfortable talking for all of us, but never talking about themselves. Also, extend the problem. We say they use culture as a reference rather than a resource, and this is why our alternative of a womanist the black aesthetics for us or embracing the womanist aesthetic is going to be better, because instead of eating other people or eating other cultures or saying we're open to other cultures, they pull from their own culture as a resource to use it to combat the negative things that the state are doing against them, or the reason why they feel like they need to combat the state. Bell specifically talks about when you use culture as a reference, you eat other people's culture. Also, they are from a disconnected narrative, which goes from the view from nowhere. When they do not talk about themselves, this allows for violence to be perpetuated against certain groups. My partner specifically talks about how when you are not able to feel or relate to other people in other countries die. These are important aspects of being able to become, being able to take that step of togetherness. Also, we're like, the other link is privilege. When we are talking about how you say, would you call the police or blah, blah, blah. Like, this is predictable situations. It shows that there are times when they don't have these issues against them as much as other people might. So they get to talk about these ideas in objective ways. When we're saying, no, there are times when we need to call the police. How can you be open to me? How can I become? How can I get that rupture of becoming if you can't even understand what I'm saying about how it's a privilege to not be able to say fuck the state. Also, extend our impact, which our Mana and Taurus cards specifically talks about how anti-blackness normalizes or legitimizes other acts of violence against other people. This is very important because anti-blackness or blackness is what has created heteronormative. The opposite of blackness is what is normative. The idea of what is normative. Now they say, well, that's not true because there's speciesism, but yet they have given no example about how.
Okay. Root cause don't matter. They just prove that root cause doesn't even matter when they say speciesism is the root cause.
Okay, they say root cause what my partner just said about root cause not mattering. Right. But also what is important is he said that heteronormativity goes right to anti-blackness, because if we're going to think about what is normal, we have to think of what is not normal. What is not normal is blackness. When they say, well, we're queer, the black body is already that. That's what we've been articulating with to liberation of the oppressed as it relates to the resolution or the debate community. And we specifically talk about our Agenda 2012, how it allows for everybody to pull from their own culture of whether or not they would want to call the police or not. If they don't want to call the police, that gives them that option with the negative. But with their affirmative, that doesn't give us that privilege. Also, they say that the fungibility, because of the fungibility of the black body, that the state will always negate and will never be able to become. But our Bill Hook says that there are times when we're going to be able to combat that, and I've given examples of how that happens. All of these are just adds to the case and a reason not to vote affirmative.
5:30.